In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to search FBIS for data from a particular site, and this can be done in a few different ways. The one way you can do it is by zooming in and actually clicking on the particular site that you're interested in, and that'll automatically bring up the overview dashboard for that site. But another way you can do it is using the search bar and typing the name of your site in there. So I'm looking for this particular site, and if I click on that, it brings up the data for that site, and it shows me the location of that site on the map as well, in the Hottentots Holland Nature Reserve, close to Franschhoek. So if I look at the site's overview dashboard, it starts off with the site name and some information about the site, including the code for the site. Each site has a unique code that looks something like this, and then it tells you about a little description for the site, which in this case it's just in the Berg River, the site coordinates, the geomorphological zone, and some other contextual information as well. You can collapse that panel and then have a look at the biodiversity data for that site, and you can see for this site there are no algae or invertebrate data, only fish data, and the breakdown of the data by origin, endemism, and conservation status are summarized with little pie charts, and the number of occurrences are shown in the top row, and the number of taxa are shown beneath. You can then scroll down to have a look at some climate data for this site, and at the moment we're serving up data on mean annual temperature and mean annual rainfall. If you want to have a look at the detailed dashboard for the site, you then have to specify whether you're interested in fish or invertebrates or algae, and in our case there's only fish data, so we'll go into the detailed site dashboard, and here you can see that what's included is a history of the filters that were applied. In our case we just entered the site name, but there may be other spatial or temporal filters listed here if you applied those as well. Again, there's a map that you can download an image of, and there's an overview of all the information for this site. This is quite a detailed overview, which includes details about the site name and location, about the geomorphological zone and the river. It gives you the catchment location at different levels for the site, which management area it falls within. It tells you about the ecoregion and province where the site is located as well. Then there's a breakdown of the records by species and occurrences, and origin, endemism, and conservation status. You can download a CSV file of the occurrence data for the site by clicking that button, and that'll save the CSV file directly to your downloads folder. And I see that's opened up already, so we can go into downloads and we can look at that CSV file, and that gives the finest level of information for that site. Information like the name of the river and the site, the location of the site, sampling date, taxonomy, and a fairly extensive list of different attributes, data attributes associated with that site. Back to the detailed site dashboard. At the top right is really a summary of all the biodiversity data for that site. Pie charts showing a breakdown of the data by origin, endemism, conservation status, sampling method, and biotope. And then the same data are presented as a series of bar charts below. Occurrences over time, taxa over time, and in this case I can see here that there's a non-native species and two native species. So maybe, let's say I was interested in only the native species actually at this site. You're able to remove one of the taxa from the graph or add it back. You can see that there's a mix of native and non-native species in the origin graph, and similarly the endemism graph shows a few different endemism categories. Note that at this site, it was only sampled during 2015. Finally, conservation status. There's a critically endangered species and another 2 species that are data deficient. And then at the bottom, there's a metadata table, which again shows the source of the data that are presented in this dashboard above. In the next tutorial, we're going to be looking at a search for data from multiple sites.